This is an introductory lecture on Equus by Peter Schaeffer for Theater 191, and I'm your professor, Dr. Christiana Muldrum-Harkulich. Peter Schaeffer is an acclaimed 20th century playwright. He was born to a Jewish family in Liverpool, England in 1926, and he passed away in 2016 at the age of 90. He was knighted in 2001 and was an active playwright from 1955 to 1992. Of all of his works, he is most well known for Equus, the play that you are reading, and also his work Amadeus. Both of these have been turned into films. Both Equus and Amadeus also both won the Tony Award for Best Play, and he also did the screenplay for both of the movie adaptations, and he won the Academy Award and the Golden Globe for screenplay for Amadeus in 1984. He was nominated for the screenplay for Equus, but he did not win the Oscar there. So he's a really well-known and well-respected playwright from England, although his works were incredibly well-received in both the United States and in England. Now, Equus is a little bit different than the plays that we have been reading so far this semester. So far, you've read plays that have very strict act structures, where all of the action moves forward in the play. Time moves linearly, which means that it moves A follows B, follows C, follows D in events, and we don't skip forward and back in time. This play is considered nonlinear because time does not move linearly. We have flashbacks, we have memories, we have hypnosis moments, and so time and space are not nearly as well structured or realistic as they were in our last few plays. Scenes move quickly from location and time. We have a non-realistic idea of horses on stage because the stable has to be real, as does the psychiatrist's office. So we have two main locations, and they're somewhat interchangeable because the action moves very quickly between one and the next. It is very theatrical. There are not real horses on stage, yet we will think of them as real horses, right? There's also big ideas of Greek chorus and Greek themes that happen in this play. You'll notice that everyone's on stage the entire time in the stage directions, and that's important because it gives us this communal storytelling idea that's very similar to Greek ideas. It's also a very realistic story, but the style that it's performed in is non-realistic. So this is not a fantasy. This is a really deep and somewhat disturbing story of a young man who is not doing well and has been convicted for killing horses. And this play is really investigating the why would someone do that. And it's a deep investigation both for Dysart, the psychiatrist, and for Alan Strang, the man who did this action. Equus is the title of the play, and it's a really important idea because it's in Latin. It's a Latin word for horse. It sets us up for an older form of worship, which is another big theme in the play. And Latin is also tied to Catholicism, which is part of Alan's background. So you have a title that is setting us up for a more ancient idea, right? It's a dead language, so we're tying it into Greek ideas there, although it's obviously Latin and Roman and not Greek. But it ties us into these bigger ideas right from the get-go with the title. It's also a play that's dealing deeply with theatricality. So what we have here are some pictures from different productions of Equus. You'll notice there's no real horses on stage, just like the stage direction tells us. We have several different performances here. What I'm circling right now, that picture is from the original 1973 performance in London at the National Theatre. On our right, we have the 2008 Broadway production with Daniel Radcliffe, otherwise known as Harry Potter, playing Alan Strang. And on the left, we have another version of the horse from a community theater production. So you can see a bunch of different styles of horses, and yet at no point are they really the horse. They do need to be able to walk on stilts. You'll see the stilts in both the 2008 and the 1973 performance so that we get the sounds of horses without actually having physical horses on stage, which would be very difficult to do. But this parallel between the idea of and the reality of it. How do we stage these horses on stage, right? How do we perform this difficult text? This gives you an idea of how we can theatrically deal with these problems and solve and find solutions for very theatrical oriented problems that are both real and grounded in reality and also still very much part of the storytelling mechanism of theater. Over here we have another picture of the stage, which has benches and is set up in a round open area so that all of the action can sort of move in through the same space. And I want to point out a couple of other parallels with Greek performance traditions. So you have a play that's about identity and religion, which is true of many Greek performances. It's very movement oriented, and ancient Greek theater was also very dance focused. So those two things are also in parallel. There's the use of masks, which, as you learned in an earlier lecture, all of the Greek theater utilized masks. And here we have the Greek chorus being used as sort of the chorus of horses, paralleling the Greek chorus and utilizing masks in a rite that feels very religious, that feels very grounded in something that is ritual, which Greek theater also was. So all of those things together give us a parallel to Greek theater, also covering a story and themes that are very contemporary. So this play is actually mashing together very old ideas with very new ideas and using theatricality to bring them all together.